Good afternoon. My name is Brady Boswell, and I'm here with Tecumseh Public Schools to introduce you to a public relations issue that we might be having within the district. Today I'm going to focus on matters of discipline. At a glance, the Tecumseh Public Schools are located in Tecumseh, Michigan, which is about 45 minutes just outside of Ann Arbor, which is the largest big city near us. We offer grades kindergarten through 12, and we service approximately 3,399 students. That's made up of 4 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 2 high schools. The average teacher salary in the Tecumseh Public Schools is $47,844. It holds a population staff of 318 individuals. Of those individuals, 170 are full-time teachers. The pupil-to-teacher ratio is approximately 19:1. As far as teacher assistants or instructional aides go, we have 39 teacher assistants within the district, 11 instructional coordinators, 71 elementary school teachers, and 11 kindergarten teachers. We do not have a preschool program, and we have 43 high school teachers. As I stated before, in all, we service 3,399 students. While we have wonderful schools and wonderful opportunities available to our students, we do have issues like many other school districts. And these issues are small in their size right now, and before they become a big problem, we would like to try to develop policies or plans and put them in place and implement them to ensure that our district maintains its great reputation as well as services our students in the way in which they need to be met. Looking at that, we have a code of conduct in place that spells out the policies of the district as determined by the Board of Education. And many of these policies are sometimes enforced, but often overlooked in certain circumstances, and that is creating a problem within our school buildings, and it's something that we need to pay attention to now. Some of the most pertinent issues include issues of bullying, our dress code, and the usage of cell phones within our schools. First, we'll discuss bullying. Our student handbooks define, exemplify, and troubleshoot the issue of bullying, as well as provide consequences for the matter in the event that bullying does occur. In past years, we've done a great job of enforcing these more stringently, but we seem to have lost focus on the matter in more recent times. In fact, in February of 2014, there were 4 weeks worth of newspaper editorials dedicated to highlighting the issues of the bullying issues that we face within our schools and our lack of concern as an administration and as a teacher population for the matters that were taking place. There's simply no room in our district for such poor publicity and for lack of concern for our students' needs. Current protocol allows for students to electronically submit or report issues so that the administrators in charge can follow up on those concerns as soon as they receive those documents. This process, however, convenient for some, is not foolproof given that technology is not always reliable nor accessible for all individuals. This can leave a number of students without the ability to report such issues, and it can leave a messy situation for an administrator to deal with if it is not taken care of at an appropriate rate. We need to educate our stakeholders on what to look for regarding matters of bullying, and also create an educational program for all of our buildings to create a culture with our students so that they become familiar with it. It will no longer be a practice of, in this school building we did this, but in this school building we don't. We need some uniformity and universality for our students to lay a claim to and take ownership of, so to ensure that all students have an enjoyable and comfortable time in our school buildings. The next issue that we'd like to address is the dress code. Over the last few years, we've seen a drastic disregard for the dress code as it's been written, especially at the high school level. In a recent year, students have shown up to school wearing more questionable outfits than ever, and the current policy does not have enforceable solutions. It's very vague, and such vague nature allows the students to find loopholes within their dress code, and they argue it notably and understandably to the best of their ability, and so we need to combat that as soon as possible. As I said before, the current dress code policy is extremely vague and very difficult to enforce, so we must develop a new, more inclusive policy that leaves little room for argument and one that is easy to enforce. I don't know that we can get to the point of having school uniforms, nor that we would want to get to that point of having school uniforms, but we do need to have something in place that does not distract other students, and it shows our stakeholders and anyone else who might be looking in that our students are of the highest class and of notable distinguishment. We have to have a strategy in place to combat violators without interfering with their studies, because that is of utmost importance. We don't want to create a policy that would take them out of class to go home and change, or that would require them time spent in an office instead of in the class receiving the instruction that they need to succeed in the world. And so, as we develop this strategy, we need to make sure that we're taking the time to establish strategies that work for everyone, especially our students. The last issue that we are going to discuss today is the usage of cell phones within classrooms. Cell phones are tools and weapons within the school building. Some can use them to perform impromptu research or schedule meetings and such, but others can use them to act inappropriately or to threaten and bully other students. We must develop a policy that allows the use of technology to enhance the learning experience and not to distract other students from the learning process. This new cell phone policy needs to address proper use and misuse. This policy needs to be spelled out for our stakeholders so that everyone completely understands the appropriate use of such technology, as well as the consequences for its misuse. Involving our IT department in the process will be of benefit to ensuring that the department can meet the needs of the students while maintaining the day-to-day order of the school. If we are allowing students to use these cell phones within our schools, they're going to be taking up and utilizing bandwidth that we may or may not have available. So if we're not making sure that we can accommodate to the use of technologies within our schools, then we can't make it a policy to say that students can use it, thus to interfere with our day-to-day operations as we see fit already. Now we need to plan our approach. We must develop 3 committees to work on each of the matters at hand. Each committee should be made up of stakeholders from all vested areas. We should have administrators, board members, teachers, parents, etc. Members of the community are often great assets within a school and district to create policies for students so that we might better understand what they're looking for in the next juncture of their life. And so it's important to include all of those stakeholders within the process of decision making. We must also evaluate all possibilities when addressing these issues so as to ensure that the new policies cover any scenarios that might arise. While it may not be an issue today, we have to think about what may come instead of just planning our strategies around what we already know. We need to look out there to see what we might not know yet. Once the committees are selected, we will work together to develop these new processes and policies. Each committee will present their new plan before the board within 1 month. This will allow time for these groups to meet together and coordinate ideas, bouncing ideas off of one another, and really troubleshoot what might work and what might not. They can also use that time to do research on other policies within local, regional districts to see what's working for other schools as well. Once the board has been presented with this new plan, the literature will then be sent to our legal team to ensure that we are within the confines of the law and to ensure that the documents are free of any errors that might be presented so as to eliminate arguments at a later date. As far as implementation goes, I believe this to be the most crucial and important component of this process, because once it has been adopted that we will take up this new policy, it is up to our administrators to ensure that these policies are carried out. And we need to make sure that they are vested in the new ideas and in the new policies so that our stakeholders are supported and represented within the office of the administrators, and so that our students understand that this is what's going to take place if you violate said policy. Fair and appropriate implementation of the policies is the only way that the new policies will work efficiently. Otherwise, we'll end up where we are currently, and we will have wasted a lot of time and important hours with stakeholders that we could have used otherwise if we don't take this seriously. And that said, if we educate our stakeholders on the importance of these other policies, we may have less of a resistance when it comes to implementation. So that's kind of the benefit of involving everyone in this process and ensuring that our students' needs are being met on a day-to-day basis.